show is kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. And if you wanna be a chef, then I say cook it up. And if you wanna be the champ, well I say hook it up. Cause I can never tell you what you can't be. Yes I can, see a failure is something you can't be. Plus, I get you a shuttle if you feel that you need space. The sky's the limit, get you wings for your birthday. Whatever makes you happy, if you like it, then I love it. Turning nothing into something, I'm all in and I ain't bluffing. I'm who you got when the world ain't got your back, man. I pull over when life puts you in the fast lane. I'm in your corner like Bandini, if you tumble, I'd tell you like him. Rumble, young man, rumble, see.
All right. What's happening, fam? Y'all movement still moving, you know. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail, right? And I made a video about this not too long ago, but I feel like it's appropriate. I was gonna do a live about it, so I got a little time today, you know, and we gotta go there. What if we don't want to have the conversation anymore? Just not now, you know, because I think about it, you know, obviously today is a Tuesday, but you know, we used to happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and sometimes Tuesdays and Thursdays was a different thing. And there's a channel about, you know, having the conversation, and there are a lot of people who have made great channels, you know, dealing with the relationship conversation. But what about the guys who, that's all right, they don't want to talk anymore. They done. They're like, look, man, we don't even need to have the conversation now, you know. So now, you know, you may see guys, they may talk about the relationship dynamic, but from a place of acceptance. You know that Maya Angelou quote, you know, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And I've talked about acceptance numerous times. And what I'm saying is, what if people are going to just start talking from a place of acceptance? There is no conversation then. There is, look, I know who you are. I know how you operate. I know what you do. I know what you have a habit of doing. I know, you know, what you're going to do by your past actions. And this is how I'm going to approach it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I appreciate it, Shaka. You know, this is how I'm going to approach it. You know, this is what's going to go on. So now you're going to deal with a different demographic of people who don't really care about the conversation as much. They're not. They're like, listen, man, what if I'm different? Well, I heard that I'm different thing so many times that I'm indifferent to you being different. So I'm not having a conversation with you about it. Okay, what if I was, you know, that was me in the past, and now I'm a changed person. I've learned my lesson, and could you meet me where I'm at, you know? And it's like, well, I've been down that road and had that conversation of, you know, I'm changed, but meet me where I'm at, which for a lot of people basically means, give me a free pass to get away with everything that from the past and let me move forward as a new person with no accountability to the damage that I did in the past. And I don't think people are willing to have that conversation anymore, because you might be talking to a demographic of people who didn't go around causing damage everywhere that they went. So now you got a whole nother issue, you know. Yeah. See, that's the approach. You know what? I believe that you're strong. You're too strong for me. We got nothing to talk about. So we don't need to have a conversation. And I think I talked about this when I made the video about it, where I was talking to my woman, and I was like, these guys are gonna just stop talking. Like brothers are just gonna like, conversation over with. And she was like, well, how does that, how will that go over? I was like, what do you mean, how will that go over? She's like, we're gonna come looking for y'all. And I was like, well, that's the thing. Wherever men go, women come looking, but they're probably not gonna find the guy that they're looking for, or just the type of atmosphere that they're looking for, because guys are gonna be a little bit different. And unfortunately, the ladies, it is what it is. You're gonna catch an L on this stuff, because the way guys look at it, Shahrazad Ali tried to tell you. Even Ayala Van Zandt tried to tell you. The dating coaches tried to tell you. All the women online are telling you and trying to tell you. And the guys have tried to tell you. So now it's like, we ain't got nothing to talk about. So for some of you ladies who, you might be looking for a committed relationship. Nah, not you, baby. What you mean, not me? I'm a good woman. Yeah, sure you are. But guess what? All you gonna get is this, discount diet, Dollar Tree polygamy. That you can be in a rotation. Because the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is, I don't think people realize this, but if you just have a day-to-day conversation with a lot of women, or single women, they all say that, as you get older, they say that their options are less and less attractive. The guys that they want now, they can't be in the same room with them. Those guys move different. They're in a different room. The guys that they're meeting aren't the guys that they want, and the guys that they want don't want them because they've moved on. And the thing about moving on a lot of times is guys don't want to have the conversation when we moved on. There's no reason to come back. There is no such thing as closure. You see what I'm saying? So you need closure. It's already closed. It's already closed. Now we got nothing to talk about. And then people go, wait, well, dang, like, is that true or not? And it's like, well, yeah, that's true. Because what if the guys don't want to say anything? Those guys have nothing to talk about. Let's have the conversation. How about, how can we make it work now? We can't. I hear Edward Anderson talk about this all the time, where he says, like, the Zillennials, they're not even talking. They just outright just, look, I'm gonna do me. Bye. And so that means the conversation with them is already gone. There is no conversation to be had. So now you're dealing with a whole different dynamic, a whole different reality, a whole different mindset, a whole different group of individuals who don't care that they're not there. See what I'm saying? So, and the older I get, the more, I have these joking conversations and playful conversations. And sometimes I have real conversations just, in my day-to-day real life with people. And what's sad is some people got to bump their head against a titanium wall to realize I probably shouldn't have done that. I've seen women, and I'm seeing women currently, who are in the best shape of their lives. They look the best that I've ever seen them. But here's and they're advertising, look at me now, I'm good, I'm now I'm actually working on my best self, and I am actually being the best version of me, and it looks dope. The DMs are popping, but nobody's trying to, actually nobody's looking at them as like, I see the beauty in you as a person. They're just seeing the body of you right now, because they look at your past, even on social media, and go, oh, I get it. You single now, so you fishing again. So now you're trying to be the best version of you, because now you're trying to attract the guy. Well, listen, you've already blown it with multiple people. You're not gonna blow it with me. You might blow me, but you're not gonna blow it with me. So guess what? I'm glad you look the best you've ever looked. It's gonna help us in the bedroom. It's gonna help, because I've seen so many attractive women who are single and who are really thirsting for a guy now, and they can't get what they want. And they know why, because the type of guys that they're thirsting for are the type of guys that they already had. So, and you can't pick up the phone and call them anymore. You can't DM them anymore. You can't, email them anymore. I don't think people realize how many men know people from their past that they blocked their number. I don't think y'all realize that. I don't think, y'all realize, how many men have probably blocked you from social media. How many men don't want you to see them anymore? And the reason I'm saying that is because as you get older, sometimes you don't want to be seen. You want to be less and less in the public eye. And for some odd reason, that mystery brings, intrigue. But when you disappear on people, what are you doing? And in my opinion, what wound up happening is, or what's happening now is, because I got to bring inflation into this whole conversation also. Like, the cost of living is going up so high, being single is not feasible for a lot of people. A lot of people who decided that they were gonna, be an all over the place worker. Maybe I'll be a trainer. Maybe I'll do real estate. Maybe I work at Amazon. Maybe I start a cleaning business. Maybe I start an eyelash business. Maybe I'm gonna work a job, but I don't like it, so I'm gonna quit it and get another job. Those people can't afford that no more. Maybe I get a boyfriend and he'll help me with he'll help me pay this bill and that bill. And you know what I'm saying? If I don't like him, I got other guys. Cost of living is killing that. And it's not like this hasn't happened before. It's happened before. But I don't think there's going to be a bigger demographic than you think of guys who just don't want to have the conversation. Why don't you commit? Commit to who? Commit to me. You're not the type. We should talk about it. I am the type. You're not the type. So I'm sorry. I can't commit to you because you're not the type. As a matter of fact, and I'm not the type for you, there's going to be a lot of acceptance. And I say this, and it's not in being mean-spirited or whatever. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. You're going to wind up running into a lot of men who not only accepted their opinion of women and accepted the reality of the women that they've come across and that they continue to come across. They've also accepted, oh, okay, you know what? I know what I am. I said, let's go out. So I'm the guy. I jumped in the guy who takes you out while you act like you really don't like me, but you like the food guy. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, I get it. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, we'll get food today, whatever, I'm out of here. And then, it's that, I know I'm not like that. I'm not using you for a meal. I could get my own. Yeah, I heard that speech before. You can get your own. You got your own. You're strong. You're independent. You don't need no man. Da, 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 da. You could do all for yourself. Snap, snap, neck roll, eye roll, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, but you'll dig in your purse and give me I'll pay for my own food. But you really didn't bring a wallet with your cards in it, did you? No, you didn't. You brought some cash, but you brought what, enough for a tip. You wasn't trying to pay nothing. It's okay. You out here to use me for a meal. Point taken. We're gonna eat. I'm gonna drop you off. I ain't gotta talk to you no more. Bye. And then they gotta sit on that. It's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot more ghosting. Oh, okay. Guys gonna, oh, she ain't had a man in a while, so I'm gonna come through. It's real. It's far too easy to get in bed. Obviously, she ain't had none in a while, and I didn't quote unquote say any of the wrong things for her to say, oh, you could have got some this night, but you messed it up. So I said pretty much nothing to all the right things. And we having sex, and I'm gonna leave. I'm like, oh, don't you think you should stay? No, I'm just you were pumping and dumping me. You might not have thought you would like the sex as much as you did, but obviously you did. Now you don't want me to leave, but here, I gotta go. You had already made up in your mind this was a pre-ghost walk of shame type of thing. So I'm gonna just take my walk of shame. Bye, deuces, take care. Have a good evening. And it's like, wait, whoa, we need to talk about this. No, not really. No, we don't. We don't. Because there's nothing to talk about. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is when you get online and you're seeing people in social media saying the same thing that men have been saying and brothers have been saying for years, and you're going and you're seeing people like they're making reaction videos, they're making content like, yo, this is bad, and the women are getting caught up like, I feel like I could do whatever I want. You can. You know what? I get it, baby. Like, you're in your mid-20s, maybe the early 30s, you're still super bad, super fine, and you feel like you don't have to do nothing to get everything. No problem. I accept you for that. And you know what? After tonight, I'm going to get out your way so you can, have your smorgasbord, your buffet of men who are going to do everything for you, and you can do nothing for everything. And hey, I'm just one of the tens or the hundreds or the thousands of guys who shot their shot that you felt like I wasn't good enough. No problem. I'm out. And you're going to see guys gracefully bow out. And what I've seen, more than not in ever since kind of the pandemic, I've seen more guys in relationships and more guys who are single who have multiple women who just like they're in a dating buffet. Like, look, man, I don't need to talk to them and that person and settle down, because what happened, and this is coming from a place just thinking back to before even the pandemic started. There were people I would clown with and talk with, and I would tell them like, listen, some of them are married, some of them are relationships, some of them are single, and I'd be like, listen, this dating market ain't what you think. Don't believe that just because you're attractive, you're gonna go out here and the world is your oyster, because it's not. And for the most part, most of them didn't listen. There were women who got pregnant, women who got divorced, women who got all kinds of stuff. Let me mute this real quick. Hold on for a second. Yeah, sorry about that. You know, so I've had, the people that were divorced and the people who feel like, yeah, I just dumped this guy, I'm gonna get another one, I'm gonna get another one. And what they all found out was what they were attracted to is gone. And a lot of times I had to learn this as I got older as a person. A lot of times the person that you wind up being attracted to the most, was a person you already had. There are so many people out here who are in love with somebody that they already had, and either that person got better over time or they appreciated that person now that they're no longer in their lives. So guess what happened? They can't have that conversation. I've been there myself where, I've been cool with people, I've cared for people and cared about people, and they act like they ain't know me. And you know what my response was? Oh, okay, no problem. I don't know you either. Cool. Move on. And it's weird, but when you see somebody who acts like who knows you intimately, but is having some type of attitude or problem, and then they act like they don't know you, and and then you say, I don't know you neither, and then you see the pain in their face, like, I'm the only one that can play this game. But people realize if I do something like that, I'm not playing. I'm dead serious. Did nothing to hurt you, did nothing to disrespect you, did nothing to not know you. But I have no problem leaving you right where you stand. I could walk away from anybody in 60 seconds. It's just something I had to learn a long time ago. Got it from the movie, right? But getting back to the conversational piece, see, there was a point where men were talking we're talking from our point of view, and women are talking from their point of view. But there's this other thing where, women were talking from our point of view and they didn't know what they were talking about, and gay men were talking from our point of view and they didn't know what they were talking about, and their opinions were taken as face value and relevant. So what's going to wind up happening is guys are like, we're not going to have this conversation. Don't worry about it. You know what? Whatever your girlfriend said to be true, yeah, it's still true. It's not true, but I don't care. It's not true, but I don't care. Whatever your gay friend told you is true. It's not true, but go with it. I don't care. Because even when you dabble in, when you're in the nightlife, it gets tiring seeing, like, the one thing that I never liked about the nightlife, and I'm gonna just put it out there for y'all, and y'all not gonna like it, some of y'all. The nightlife is just a scene of a lot of lonely people. Because if you in the nightlife long enough, and you don't even have to be long. It doesn't have to be long. If you stay in the same nightlife for 6 months, you're gonna see the same people over and over and over and over and over again. Because everybody goes to the same places. When you think about people in the nightlife, they might go to the same 4-5 clubs, lounges, events. They do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Nightclub, hookah lounge, live music, certain restaurant, poetry slam, or whatever. They don't diversify where they're going, so you see the same people, and they don't want to have a conversation. And you're not gonna have a conversation with them because you're like, look, man, I came here 2 months ago, and I just wanted to get out of the house. 2 months later, and I see you here again, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and the bartender know you, the security know you, the people who in and out know you, everybody know you, so you here all the time. Why you here all the time? Because you ain't got nothing else to do. So maybe you could be the person that has been doing something. Nah, that's all right. That's all right. You come back next week. Because I ain't gonna be here. Like, man, what's going on? What's going on is some guys are just tired of even the thought of having a conversation now. You know, and some of you ladies gonna have to deal with that. You know, truth be told, I think a lot of y'all gonna actually want to talk more when you see the guys. And the guys, we're not gonna go silent. I don't believe we're gonna just go silent and never talk about the relationship dynamic. Like I said before, I think we're just gonna say, look, this is what it is. And the women gonna go, that's not what it is. You need to say this, you need to talk about this. And the guys gonna go, look, I don't care what you say. You can argue with yourself. I'm sick of you trying to argue with me. I've been around the block enough to know that you just arguing to argue because you need attention because don't nobody care about you and ain't nobody talking to you. So I'm not even gonna have an argument with you because you need somebody to talk to. We're not even having a conversation. This is what it is. This is my experience. You can't tell me no different. And guess what? I don't care what you gotta say. And I'm not even and I'm not gonna say nothing to you because I don't even want you to believe that I'm bashing you. What? You bashing? Well, why don't you say this and why don't you believe this? We're not even gonna have that hypothetical conversation. We're not gonna have no straw man argument conversation. We're not about to have the men left the homes and we're unprotected. We're not gonna have the protected, unprotected abandonment conversation. We're not having none of them conversations. None of them. Because the guys already had them. It's like, I see what this is. You just want a color purple story to tell. So tell your color purple story. Cool, no problem. I don't care if I'm Mr. If I'm Harpo, I'm Mr.'s daddy. I don't really give a doggone. I really don't. But here's where it's going to go wrong. It's going to go horribly wrong. And you see this, and if you're young, you don't know this yet. But as you get older, you're gonna find this out. People are gonna have these stories about themselves, their life, their past, their traumas, and you're gonna realize something. They've been married to their story and their trauma for a very long time, to the point that they never moved on. Everybody around them hearing the story moved on. 3 years in past, they still telling the same story. 5 years past, they telling the same story. 10 years past, they telling the same story. To the point where people are like, listen, this is not a reason why you didn't get with anybody in life because you still been telling this story. Some guys are not going to have the conversation with you. Well, I've been hurt in the past, and that's why I'm like this. Well, okay, that's cool. Hey, well, sorry for you, but I'm not hurt, and I'm not in the unhurting you because I don't even know what's wrong with you, to be perfectly honest. I've been hurt too, but I ain't acting this crazy. So, you'll figure it out one day, but I'm not going to be the person to figure out today with you. It's just not going to happen. So, guys are not going to have a conversation. For you folks out there who go, what, I'm going to get in a relationship and what, I decided I'm going to do it in 3 years or 2 years and 5 years from now, I'm going to get ready to settle down. Guys ain't going to have a conversation with you no more about, don't do that. It's a bad idea. The sun doesn't rise and shine when you feel like it. Guys aren't going to be waiting for you 2 years from now and 3 years from now and 5 years from now when you say, I'm ready. They're not going to be there saying, I've been waiting, baby, I'm ready too. They're going to be long gone. We're not going to have a conversation with you, so you can have this 2 year, 3 year, 5 year conversation. So when you actually know the reality hit, which you already know, that nobody's waiting for you. Well, you've been talking to me for 2, 3, 5 years. Don't you find me attractive? It's a reason why you like me too. No, we're not going to play that game either. You're not about to get a friend zone therapist, that you can possibly sneak up on one day and be with. That's over too. Over too. Guys are not going to try to have that conversation. And speaking of, that type of angle, for all you folks who have kids, you see how guys have been pushing it back against the, don't date single mothers type of thing, right? For you folks who are on that kick, like, but my kids are grown, or my kids don't need nobody. My kids are great. My kids are cool. You might have a great child or some great children. We ain't even gonna have that conversation either. Not my problem. But what about when them kids grow up? Y'all think y'all could, get together? Nope. Why? Because I already heard you talk about your baby daddy and all the drama. I'm not even trying to hear it. I'm not even gonna get in the middle of y'all drama. Y'all might as well get back together. Because if y'all don't, you're just gonna be out here. Guys ain't gonna have the conversation. Oh, he's a bad person, and look at him. And he meets your baby daddy, and your baby daddy look like, oh, cool. Oh, this the type of dudes you like? Well, that's what I liked in my past. That's what you're gonna like in the present too. Because if I'm completely opposite from this guy, and you think I'm gonna get in the middle of y'all too, no. Y'all have y'all Bonnie and Clyde, hood rat love, hate, hot and cold thing going. I ain't got nothing for you. Guys it's just not gonna talk. It's like, don't worry about this over with. But don't you think I'm worth it? No, I don't. How don't you think? What you mean you don't? I'm beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful, but you're not worth it. We need to talk about this. No, we don't. We got nothing to talk about. Because now it's at that point, and I think people don't realize how bad it's gotten. Because there's, like I said before, there's some guys, they're just not even trying to talk no more. They don't care about how you feel or where you coming from. They just don't care. Because let me tell you what happened. A lot of y'all didn't care about these guys. And you can say, oh man, these guys they're men, they need to be men. So what? They need to act like they got some sense, and do this and do that. No, actually what's gonna wind up happening at the end of the day, these guys are gonna treat you with the same indifference that they got treated with. And it won't even be out of spite, just for the record. It's not going to be out of spite. Because I know some people are gonna say, maybe you're just being bitter and vindictive and spiteful. Nope. These guys are like, hey, I got better things to do. Life is too short to play this game. You see, older men would try to talk. Younger men are big indifference. Like, it's all good. What are you gonna do? You guys are not building. You guys aren't providing conversation. Guys ain't gonna try to hear it, because we've seen how guys who built things and who provided, we've seen how they've been treated also. It's like, we're not even gonna talk about that. No, but if you build for me and provide for me, I'm not gonna act like that. Whatever. That's all right. Look, man, you on your own, player. You on your own. It's no big deal. You do you. I'ma do me. We'll be just fine in our separate spaces. And unfortunately, there's gonna be a lot of people who are going to have a meltdown. We're gonna have a mental breakdown, because they might get the attention, but the attention is gonna lack affection, for one. But the attention is gonna be like, oh, you just nice to look at by. You're just nice to look at by. Yeah, I don't think y'all really have paid attention to the internet thirst trap. Because if you pay attention to it, you can see people who have been thirst trapping for years, and they're beautiful, they're attractive of different age groups. They thirst trapping their life away, but people like, whatever. Every now and then I get on Instagram. I'm sure there are people who are looking at Delicious now, like, yeah, Delicious, you still looking good, but they're like, listen, man, that's nice, but even if I really wanted you in that way, you already been married, you already been divorced, your kids already grown. All I'm gonna have is you in my house making Instagram videos, looking provocative, doing silly stuff over and over and over again. Do I really want that while I'm at work, to see you online doing this and say that's how you make your money? No, I don't. So we're not even gonna have this conversation. You just, what? Be married to the gram. Maybe every now and then there's gonna be some guy who comes off and hits you with that, with the sausage fest and go about your business. But what about something deep? And the only thing that's gonna be deep is inside of you. Like, other than that, you're not gonna get. I might touch your heart. I'm trying to touch your heart from missionary or doggy style, but I ain't trying to touch your heart sentimentally. It's like, it is what it is. You're not gonna have the conversation. Like, you don't know what I went through. I don't care neither. I don't care neither. So, what are we gonna do now? Nothing. For the people who feel like they need to be worshipped, I need to be treated like a queen. I ain't got nothing to talk about. You don't even know how to treat you don't know how to treat a guy like he's even part of the royal family, let alone the king. So these guys ain't gonna talk. I need to be treated like a king. I need to be worshipped. I need to be pampered. I need to be taken here and taken there. And you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do that. You might, the what are you bringing to the table conversation probably gonna end. Like, what are you bringing to the table? You know what? I ain't even gonna ask you what you bring to the table, because you asking for a whole lot. I don't even know you. I ain't even gonna ask you what you bring to the table, because you asking for everything right now. You telling me I need to do all these things for you. You don't even know my last name. All you know is my Instagram handle. Wow. You don't even know where I'm born. You don't even know where my family from. You don't even know if I got siblings. You don't know nothing. But you know that I need to take you to Dubai and the Maldives and to Paris, and I need to take you to the finest of restaurants. These guys are not even gonna talk. They're gonna go, look, man, what are you doing? I'm just ordering some wings on Wingstop. I'm about to get up out of here. Yep. I'll get my lemon peppers. I'll talk to you later. I'm not gonna talk to you later, but I'll talk to you later. Oh, you're not on my level anyways. You're right. I'm not on your level. I'm not even gonna argue with you about being on your level or not. I'm not even gonna prove to you that I'm on your level. I'm deserving. We ain't got nothing to talk about. I'll stay beneath you for the rest of your life. I'm gonna let you believe that if you got with me, you would be settling. No problem. It's like, oh my goodness. So now, we're just entering we're probably entering a new phase where people are just gonna go, hey man, we might sit down and have a get to know you conversation. And if that conversation goes bad at any point, I don't need to get to know you. For all you feminists out there, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm a feminist. I'm a womanist. I believe in female empowerment. Bye. That's good. So, you know what? Go get with some other women and empower yourselves and, build, What is it? Build Wonder Woman's palace. I don't care. Like, we ain't got nothing to talk about. But don't you think as a man you should help? You're a feminist and you're a womanist and you believe in female empowerment. I ain't got nothing to do with a man. Go smash the patriarchy. Go hook up with your friends and smash it all, baby. I'm finna go over here and I'm finna go to the arcade, man. You know what? I'm finna go to Dave and Buster's and find Time Crisis and shoot up some stuff. I ain't got time for all this. I mean, just give me my gun and I'm gonna have a little fun. Bye. Maybe because you're intellectually not on my level. You know what? I'm stupid compared to you. Yep, that's what it is. You know what? Because you got a PhD in basket weaving, and I cannot compete with you, baby. You're the most educated basket weaver I've ever met in my life, and I'm not gonna, waste your time with my low level of intelligence and your high level of basket weaving thought process. Let's not just talk about it. Hey, go do what you got to do, man. Call up Hillary Clinton and Ellen DeGeneres and every other Shonda Rhimes. Make a movie about it. Guys got to go. You're gonna see this more and more and more. Like I don't. It was crazy, and it might sound weird, but I know there's a big market for guys trying to get game. I believe there's going to be a market growing for guys to be indifferent. Like, man, you want some game? Here's the game. Don't care. The game is don't care. Hold up. I think something's going on in my front door real quick. Okay. All right. That's going to be the game. What should I say? Nothing. Where should I take her? Nowhere. How should I approach her? Don't. Dang, it's like that. Yeah, I mean, for what? Hope you're doing well, brother. It's gonna get that bad because guys are tired of talking. And when you see the clips of these interactions, you normally see people like in their early to in their 20s. Let's just put it like that. They're in their 20s having these conversations that people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s have had ad nauseum. It's like, they ain't got nothing to talk about. And then and the young ladies who are going to go say, I'm tired of these young boys and they're not mature enough. I need to give me a grown man. I don't think y'all realize the grown men that y'all going to want, they're not going to play none of these games with you. They're like, I was with this young man. He ain't man enough. You know what? Listen, man. I don't even want to hear none of that. I don't care what he is. I don't care who the people he met was. Either we going out to eat, we not. You know what I'm saying? We going to the movies, we not. We going to my bedroom, we not. I don't care about none of your little speeches. You being too forward. You know what? I can put this car in reverse and drop you off. I don't care. These men ain't men no more. You're not gonna have that conversation with men anymore about how men ain't men and men ain't real men and men back in the day. Guys are not gonna give them. They're like, whatever. Yeah, we're not real men. We're not like men back in the day. Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't put in the Chevy engine with my bare hands like your great granddad did that you love to death, but always said he beat up your great grandmother and he cheated on her and he had 4 families on each side of town and da 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 da. But I ain't half the man he is. We ain't even gonna have that conversation. I don't even care. Go holler at your side uncles and aunties about all that. I ain't got nothing to do with it. It's like, it is what it is. And people are going to play this game. I think what's going to wind up happening is, at the end of the day, you're going to see guys just delve into what guys like to do more. You're gonna see more guys get into, football, basketball, maybe baseball. And I ain't talking about like the sport isn't playing. I'm talking about adult men. Like, I'm going to the game, man. You know what? All the date money, that's gonna go. That's gonna go to the game. I'm just gonna tell y'all, man. If boxing coming to town, UFC coming to town, I'm going to the UFC fight. And don't be surprised if it might be a bunch of guys doing it alone. Man, I'm going to the cigar bar. Because you see, because I've been in all these different places, and I had no problem rolling solo, and I've done it. I did it when I was single, and for some odd reason, it's intriguing to women. Like, oh man, you here? Just who you with? Me. What you doing? Just chilling. Then they want to sit down and have a conversation, and it's cool. You can pass the time. You can have a little fun. You can interact. But when people start asking serious questions, so what did you, when they do the, where you work? How you got any kids? You know what I'm saying? You got a baby mama? You still messing with your baby mama? Look, man, hey man, you can go on somewhere. I ain't come here for your third degree. I don't even know you. Get out my face. I came to the cigar bar for some cigars, not interrogation. This is a place of relaxation, okay? Get out, go on somewhere. Oh, I thought we could have a conversation. We can have a conversation, but not about this stupid stuff. I ain't asking you about, what's going on in your life. I don't even know your name. We're not gonna do this. Act like you got some sense. So just know this is gonna be like a different dynamic, and people are gonna have a hard time with it. Like I said before, people are gonna have a hard time with it because I think people are gonna have a hard time just with the idea of men not caring. It's like, what? Men are not gonna care? Yeah, not gonna care. Oof, man, that's gonna suck. I already know that the end of that story. But even with that, people not gonna care. Like, man, listen, family already here now. Same thing with the church conversation. They ain't got no good men in the church. I want you to come to church with me. I ain't going to church with you. Don't you? Yeah, I need a God-fearing man. I don't care what you need. Well, go find a God-fearing man in the church. He in the choir, wearing Easter colors and switching with tight slacks on. Go ahead and, you date the choir director and his boyfriend. I'm not going to church because you need a God-fearing man. Yeah. You going to hell anyway. I know how you get down. I don't know why you need a God-fearing man. You need to be scared of God your damn self right now. But, people are, oh my God, he's bashing. No, it's just the reality of what's going on nowadays. People are tired of that. And thanks, fam. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Rob. This is what's going on in society. So, when these guys start talking, because I've seen it die down. I've seen the reaction videos die down, and I've seen the conversations kind of slow down, and I think people don't realize the guys are just pointing out, see, told you so, told you so, told you so, told you so, and all the told you so's are adding up to less and less conversation. And there will be no filibustering, is what I'm trying to say at the end of the day. You're not going to filibuster these guys. You're not going to go, okay, well, that speech of, that's not me, and I don't know nobody like that, and I don't know who you know, and who you been with, but girls I know, we don't get down like that. Guys like, whatever, man. I don't care. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got the same weave. You like O'Shea would say, you got the same. You got the same sandals, the same weave, the same boutique outfit, the same fake eyelashes. You know what I'm saying? You got the same body shape. You got the same bad attitude. But I don't know nobody like that because you ain't looking in the mirror. So now, it's not going to be a good idea. It's not going to be as good of an idea because there's going to come a point where y'all beg for a conversation. We really need these brothers to talk about it. Brothers like, I'm good. For all you people, all you people who have to do with relationships, child support, family court, child support, orders, and this, that, and third, custody. All the he abandoned us talk. A lot of y'all baby mamas know what it is. Y'all know it's a lot of guys that just don't talk to you. Same young. You cold blooded for that, Geechee. But it's going to be a lot of that. It's in on the flip side of not having a conversation, there's going to be less chivalry. And for all the guys who the kids are told, no, your daddy ain't this, your daddy ain't that. Oh, that's not gonna fly from this point on. I could bet it's not gonna fly from this point on. Your daddy gonna be like, yeah. The reason I ain't with your mama because I caught her in the backseat smashing a drug dealer. Yeah. You have to take a DNA test for you because I ain't know if you was mine or not. And she says, I left and I abandoned y'all. Yeah, but I don't think I want to be with somebody who's smashing a drug dealer in the back of a car at a nightclub when they're supposed to be with you. So yeah, so you can say, so your mama can say I left. That's why I quote unquote left. She never told you that part, right? No problem. I know she wasn't gonna never tell you that part. We're gonna have issues. Like what? All the guys who got cheated on, guys are gonna start telling the stories of how they got cheated on. They're not gonna play that game with you. Did he get cheated on? Yeah, it's not gonna be a conversation about what did you do? Guys is gonna say, yeah, I was with a chick, I did right by her, she did me dirty. Yep. So, it is what it is. Let's have a conversation about, the women who did right by you. There ain't that many. If I had 20 girlfriends, only 2 did right by me. So the odds of having that work out is bad. Backup singer. So it's like, guys not gonna have these conversations. They're really not. Like it's not gonna be the interaction between men and women. It's probably gonna slow down a lot. And for a lot of people, you on your own. You are definitely on your own. Definitely on your own. And people are not gonna realize how bad it is because, you're gonna see you should have seen this coming because this cougar thing is growing and growing and growing, and the mothers trying to date their children's friends and stuff keeps growing and growing and growing, and and the competition between older women and younger women, it keeps exacerbating and growing and growing and growing. You know why? Because guys ain't really willing to have a conversation. The guys don't care no more. I can't find a good man. Well, that's a you problem. Are you a good man? Nah, I'm not. So you know where you need to go that way. Why? Because you need to find the good ones. The good ones probably over there. They're not right here. Are you just running me off to say that? Yup, I'm just saying that, and you're not running off. And people are going to be upset, but that's what's going to happen. I see it all the time. I've seen it. I see it all the time. Old women in their 50s still looking attractive. 40s still looking attractive. 30s still looking attractive. 20s looking attractive. Single and lonely. And starting to look at guys like, man, you look good. Yeah, I like the way you move. You never tried to holler. You never tried to, and I'm not gonna try to holler either. Tell a woman, oh, yeah, I got somebody. Oh well, are you happy? Like, y'all good? Yeah, we fine. Yeah, man, You sure? You know, you can you just have a drink with a friend? Yeah, I had drinks with friends all the time. We ain't friends. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I talk to you, but no, I'm not going out with you. You know, no, I'm not. You know, you got any friends you can introduce me to? Nope. So all your friends are, you ain't got no single friends? Nope. So all your friends in relationships? Yep. And they all in good relationships? Yep. I'm just looking for somebody nice. Well, you know what I'm saying? Get online. You know, meet people out in public. You know, go out some more. But guys don't approach no more. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And it's like, oh man, we done messed up. It is what it is. These guys don't want to talk no more. And it's unfortunate to say that, but brothers ain't got nothing to say. And they may not have anything to say for years. You know. And I'm just talking about the people who are deemed attractive. The people who are unattractive, y'all really not gonna get spoken to. Y'all gonna be like, you know, all the people who didn't get in a relationship but they get married, like I talked about with the inflation and the cost of living. I said it before, it's gonna be some threesomes and some swingers out here because people can't afford to pay rent. You know, guys, you know, and speaking of that, for all you ladies that go both ways, these guys gonna let you be with your girlfriends. These guys are not finna play the threesome game with y'all. They, you know, I was joking about the polygamy, but these guys are not going, ooh, you know, I like girls and I got a girl, well, go be with her then. Let her take you out on a date. Go sleep with her then. You know, let her deal with your mood swings. You know, if you play your cards right, you can have both of them. No, I don't want either one of y'all. You know, y'all strong, independent, and y'all need to empower each other. Y'all need to vibrate y'all lives away. I'm not finna pay for y'all to date each other. Y'all grown. You don't want to talk about having multiple women? I have multiple women now. What I need you and your girlfriend for? You men, y'all different. No, we're not different. They're indifferent. It's a big difference. So, you know, a lot of what's gonna go on in the future, it's not gonna be pretty, yo. Guys got a lot to, you know, a lot to not say now. Because truth be told, all the information is out there. All of it is out there. So now when people act stupid and play stupid, you got no reason to be this stupid. But I'm sure people gonna keep trying to poke the bear and act like it's gonna be something other than that. But truth be told, you're on your own. And I think y'all better deal with it. You know, because there's gonna be a lot of guys who don't want to have a conversation no more. It ain't worth it. So I'm done. Y'all like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Enjoy the outro. Peace.
This looks like a job for Superman.
You do this,
Spoken from the lips of the young or the old, bear of me.
Yeah, gotta put it all in.
And they are Superman.
All the way.
I guess I'm taking off the cape through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I walk I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting
listen. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly. Okay.